What's going on YouTube? It's the Middle School Math Man back with another video for you on adding, subtracting, multiplying, and classifying polynomials. So there's going to be a lot that's going on in this video. But first we're just going to start with what are polynomials and how do you order them in your answer. So first of all, polynomials, they are an expression of more than two algebraic terms. Excuse my bad handwriting, it's hard to write with this stylus. More than two algebraic terms. And we'll get into it a little bit more here in a second. And whenever you write your answers, so whenever we deal with some problems, we're going to have answers that have a lot of exponents in them. So there's a certain way that we want to order our answers. We're going to order them in standard form. Standard form is just a way of organizing polynomials. I'm going to say a way of organizing. So how we're going to organize our answer is we're going to go highest degree first. And then from there, we're going to go in descending order, which we'll get to here shortly. So if we look at an example of what an answer might look like, our 3, that is the highest exponent value. That is called the leading term. It is the kind of first term in our answer. It's the leading term. So we have a chart here. So we need to be able to look at something like this example, and we should be able to classify the polynomial based on the different characteristics. So the degree, we're talking about the exponent value. The degree is the exponent value. So if we have something that's a third degree, that means that it is the exponent value or the leading term has a degree of 3, like our example. This would be a cubic. And then the number of terms, we should already know what terms are. If we look at this example, we have 4 terms. So if we were to classify this example, we would have a cubic polynomial. But we will get to that more here in a second. So if we look at this first question, we have 6. So if you think about 6, 6 does not have an exponent. There's no variable with the 6. It has no exponent value, so that is a constant. And then if you think about the number of terms, monomial is a constant monomial. If you look at number 2, negative 2x, remember there's an invisible 1 with that x. So this has an exponent value of 1, and there's 1 term, so this would be a linear monomial. Moving on to the third question, 7x plus 1. Again, we have a highest exponent value of 1, so we have a linear. This one, however, has 2 terms, so this is a linear binomial. Some of these prefixes might sound familiar to you. Bi, like a bicycle, means 2. Number 4 has 3 terms, 1, 2, 3, and it has a highest exponent value of 2. So this is a quadratic trinomial, tri like a tricycle. 3. Number 5, we have an exponent value of 3, so that is a cubic. Excuse my handwriting again. A cubic, and there are 2 terms. This is a cubic binomial. And then the last one, we have a quartic, because it has a highest exponent value of 4, a quartic polynomial. There are 4 terms. So based off the exponent, the highest exponent value and the number of terms, we can figure out or we can classify these different expressions. 7 through 9, these are not in standard form. They are not in the highest degree order. So if we were to rearrange number 7, for example, that would be written as 2x squared plus 3x plus 1. So the highest exponent value is our standard form, and that's how all of our answers should be written, the highest exponent value. Alrighty, the next section of these notes, we have some algebra tiles. So when we are adding and subtracting polynomials, what we are essentially doing is we are combining like terms. We are combining like terms. So if we look at these algebra tiles, and it kind of got cut off here, but this is equal to x, this is equal to 1. So if you look at these tiles, if you look at the, what's over here, we have a white cube, so that is x squared plus 2x, and then I have 3 little cubes that are shaded in, those are -1, so that gives us -3. Then we have plus, over here, I have 2x squareds, and then I have -3x. I have -3x. So when we are combining like terms, all we are doing, when we're adding and subtracting polynomials, all we are really doing is combining like terms. So if we were to simplify what expression I just created, I can combine my x squareds. So I have x squared plus 2x squared, that would give me 3x squared. If I look at the x's, I have -1x, and then finally I have -3. I cannot do anything else with that, so that would be my final expression. Notice how it is in highest degree. That comes first, x squared, then I have my -x and my -3. So here are some other examples. I'm going to run through number 1 and number 3. So number 1, again, you're just combining like terms. So I have my x squareds, and if I combine those, that's going to give me 3x squared. Moving on to the x's, I have 2 x's, and they're both positive, so I have plus 2x. And then finally, I have these constants. -5 plus 6 is going to give me +1. So that right there, 3x squared plus 2x plus 1, is the fully simplified version of that. If you look down at number 3, it says, be careful with subtraction. You need to distribute the negative to all the terms in the second polynomial. So what we're going to do is I'm going to rewrite the first set of parentheses. I'm not doing anything with those yet. What I suggest you do is I suggest you rewrite it after you distribute this negative sign or this minus sign. So I have -2x squared. And then I had a -x already inside the parentheses, and I'm subtracting, or I'm distributing another subtraction sign to it. So that gives us a double negative, which actually turns into +x. And the same thing is going to happen with this 4. It's going to become +4. Now I can go back and look, and I can combine those like terms. So I'm going to end up with 1x squared minus 4x, and then +7. So when we are adding and subtracting polynomials, you're basically just combining like terms. The last thing in this video is talking about multiplying. So you are going to have to remember those exponent laws that we went over. So just starting off very basic, I'm just going to run through a couple of these. If you look at number 1, you have an h that's on the outside. So you are multiplying that h by both of the terms inside. So that's going to give us h squared plus 4h. h squared plus 4h. h times h is h squared, and then h times 4 is 4h. I'm going to move over to number 6. Number 6 is negative 4g squared, and you are multiplying that by 2g. So we have negative 4 times 2, which gives us negative 8. And then I have g squared times g. Remember, there's an invisible 1 with that g. So that's going to give us 3g. So I have negative 8g cubed. And then I have negative 4g squared times 7. So I'm going to have minus 28g squared. Some of them get a little bit more difficult. I would encourage you to maybe pause the video and try some of the ones that might be a little bit more challenging, but we will also get to those a little bit more in class. The last thing I wanted to talk about was this last section, 16 through 21. So here we have to multiply, we have to distribute, or whatever you want to call it. And then we're going to also have to simplify our answer a little bit further potentially. So if I look at number 16, I need to multiply the negative 2x times everything that's inside the parentheses. So that's going to give me negative 6x squared minus 8x. That's what I'm going to get when I multiply the negative 2x. I still have this plus 7x over there. So now I still have some stuff that I can simplify. I can combine those x's. But keep in mind that the negative 6x squared, that should come first, and then I have minus, excuse me, if you go back and you look, I actually made a mistake here. Keep in mind, negative 2 times negative 4 gives us a positive, a plus 8x. So make sure you go back and fix that if you wrote that down. That is plus 8x, so then that's going to make this plus 15x. That is the order that it should be written in. Let's do one more. If you look at number 19, we have some sets of parentheses we have to multiply. So 6x times 2x is 12x squared. Then I have minus 18x. Now the second set of parentheses, we're going to distribute a negative 5. So that's going to give me negative 10x squared minus 45x plus 15, because it's negative 5 times negative 3. Now I can go back in and I can combine those like terms. So I have some x squareds. So I have 2x squared minus 63x and then plus 15.